Hello everyone. In this session we will be covering inverse examples. So let us start. So let's take an example of a matrix here. We have a matrix -5, 3, 1, 0, 2, -2, 0, 1, -4, 0, 2, 3, 0, -4, 2, 5. These are the 8 entries in this matrix. We need to find the inverse of this matrix. At this point in time, I'd like to request the users, please pause the video, bring a pen and paper, and then let's try solving the questions ground up, okay? So please go ahead, pause the video, bring a pen and paper, and then let's start. Okay, so inverse of this matrix. Step first, calculate the determinant. So if the determinant equals 0, the matrix is singular and does not have an inverse. This is the step first that you have to keep in mind when you're solving a matrix for an inverse problem statement. If determinant is not equal to 0, the matrix is non-singular and has an inverse. So this is my first step. We will calculate the determinant. So let us try calculating the determinant of the matrix that we have. So in the example above, let us first calculate the determinant. For calculating the determinant, we need to bring the matrix in row echelon form. At this point in time, I'm sure the users already know what exactly row echelon form is and how we compute those operations. So the row echelon form of the matrix above is this: -5, 3, 1, 0 in the first row, 0, -4, 2, 5 in the second row. Third and fourth rows have zeros respectively. Since this is an upper triangular, right? Because entries above the non-diagonal elements are positive and these are all zeros. So that means the determinant of this matrix will actually be the product of all the entries, the diagonal. So -4 multiplied by -4 multiplied by 0, which is a 0. So the determinant of the matrix above is 0, and since it's 0, the matrix does not have an inverse. So given the matrix is in upper triangular format, the determinant is the product of all the diagonal entries. Keep in mind, important point. So when the row echelon form of a matrix is in a triangular form, either it can be upper or lower, the determinant is actually the product value of all the entries in the diagonal column. Okay, so these are the entries in the diagonal column and the determinant is the product, and in this case it's a 0. And since it's a 0, this matrix does not have an inverse. Okay, so we stop here. That's pretty much it. Given the determinant of the matrix is 0, the matrix does not have an inverse. Let's take another example. Example 2. So we have another matrix here. We need to find its inverse. Okay, please write down the matrix again. Okay. 1, 3, 1, 5 in the first row, 2, -2, 3, 1 in the second row, -4, 4, 2, 3 in the third row, 2, -4, 2 and 5 in the fourth row. So step first, what is the first step? We will be calculating the determinant. To calculate the determinant at this point in time, I am using row echelon form. However, there are other methods too that we've discussed. The cofactor method, where you take out individual values and then try finding the determinant of 3 cross 3 matrix, then we will find the determinant of 2 cross 2. You subdivide the you subdivide the matrix and then find the determinant of each of these, right? That's another way. That will be a long process. Finding it to row echelon form will be a slightly simpler way to operate. So that's our step first. We're going to calculate the determinant. So let us bring this matrix in row echelon form first. So we're calculating the determinant. Reduce the matrix in row echelon form. We've already seen that will be our first step. And the row echelon form for this matrix is as under. I have enclosed the PDF of how I've brought this matrix into this in row echelon form, just in case if your values are not computing correctly. But I'm not exactly discussing them right now in this slide, alright? But the PDFs are attached in the description box, so you can always go ahead, download them, and then when you're solving it, just view and compare your results, okay? So the inverse of this matrix is -4, 4, 2 and 3, 0, 4, 3 by 2, 23 by 4, 0, 0, 4, 5 by 2, 0, 0, 0, 225 by 32. Again, now we've got this matrix in a triangular form. That means the determinant is the product of the entries in the diagonal, correct? So this becomes minus 450, that is minus 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 225 by 32. It's minus 450, which is definitely not equal to 0. That means this matrix has an inverse. Now let us compute its inverse. How are we going to do that? This is the step 2. Okay, so you augment your matrix, the original matrix, with a 4 cross 4. It will be basically an n cross n identity matrix augmentation. Our example was of a 4 cross 4 matrix. That is why we are augmenting it with a 4 cross 4 identity matrix. Okay, so this was my original matrix, and after augmentation with an identity matrix, this is how we represent it. So the representation for the across the first row is 1 3 1 5, 2 minus 2 3 1, minus 4 4 2 3, 2 minus 4 2 5. Right? So this is my matrix, and after augmenting it with an identity matrix, we put that matrix on the right hand side, which is 1 triple 0 0 1 double 0 double 0 1 0 triple 0 1. Now what is our aim here? Our aim is to actually convert this matrix into an identity matrix. Okay, so we need to inverse the identity matrix that we have on the right hand side to the left hand side. So we have to make this matrix, our original matrix, as an identity matrix, and then when we do that, all the operations that we perform will actually give us a matrix on the right hand side, and that matrix will be the inverse of our matrix, our original matrix. Okay, so this is how we augment. Let's start. Step 3, let us start reducing the matrix again to row echelon form. Please write down the matrix in your notebook and then solve it. Okay, stop the video, solve it yourself, and then come back and view the answers again. Only then it will help, else this is not going to help. Okay, so let's swap the matrix rows. We've swapped R1 and R3. So now the new augmented matrix that we have is minus 4 4 2 3 on the left hand side, 0 0 1 0 on the right hand side, and R3 becomes 1 3 1 5 on the left hand side and 1 triple 0 on the right hand side. Let's cancel the leading coefficients in R2 by performing the following operations. What am I performing? I'm adding row 2 with half of R1. So what do I have as the entries on my R2? I have 0, 0, 4 and 5 by 2 on the LHS side. Then I have 0, 1, 1 by 2 and a 0 on the RHS side. Cancel leading coefficients in R3 by performing the following operations. What are we doing? We're taking R3 and then we are adding it with 1 by 4 times of R1 and then inserting it again in R3. So the entries on the LHS side of R3 column, R3 row is 0, 4, 3 by 2, 23 by 4. And then on the RHS side is 1, 0, 1 by 4 and 0. I'm really hoping that you guys are actually solving this on a pen and paper and then figuring out these operations that I'm performing yourself, because that is the only crux of understanding how you can reduce a matrix in row echelon form. Literally, you need to understand why we are doing this. The why has to be known. Okay, so you just have to keep that in mind. So now R4, we're replacing R4 with R4 plus half of R1. So R4 now becomes 0, minus 2, 3, 13 by 2 on the LHS, 0, 0, 1 by 2, 1 on the RHS side. Now let's again go ahead and swap the two rows. We're swapping R2 and R3 this time. So what do I have now? I have 0, 4, 3 by 2, 23 by 4 on the LHS side of the second row, and I have 1 0 1 by 4 0 on the RHS side, and then the R3 I have 0 0 4 5 by 2, and then 0 1 1 by 2 and 0. Next operation, cancel leading coefficients in row R4 by performing the operation. So what am I doing? R4 plus half of R2, and then putting this value again in R4. So the entries on R4 are 0 0 15 by 4 75 by 8, and then here I have half, 0 5 by 8 and 1 respectively. Next operation, cancel leading coefficients in R4 by performing this operation. So R4, now we are subtracting the original entries of R4 with 15 by 16 times of R3, and the values that I have on R4 now comprises of 0 0 0 225 by 32. On the RHS I have 1 by 2 minus 15 by 16, 5 by 32 and 1 respectively. Oops. So now I have this matrix in row echelon form. Why? Because all the entries below the diagonals are zeros, leading coefficients, and these are my diagonal entries right here. So I have this matrix in row echelon form. Now my job is to reduce this matrix in row reduced echelon form, right? I'm guessing by now you already know what exactly is a row reduced echelon form. Okay, so let us reduce this matrix again in row reduced echelon form. Step 4 is to reduce the matrix like we said in row reduced echelon form. So let's start. Multiply matrix row by constant. So what am I doing? I'm multiplying R4 with a constant which is 32 upon 225. So the entries on R4 now becomes 0 0 0 1, and on the RHS it becomes 16 225 minus 2 by 15 1 by 45 32 by 225 respectively. Next operation, cancel leading coefficients in row R3 by performing the following operations. R3 minus 5 by 2 times of R4, and then place these values on R3. So I have 0 0 4 0 on the LHS, minus 8 by 45, 4 by 3, 4 by 9, minus 16 by 45 on the RHS side. Cancel leading coefficients in row R2 by performing the following operations. So R2 minus 23 by 4 times of R4, and we insert that value in R2. So the values equals 0 4 3 by 2 0 on the LHS side, 133 by 225, 23 by 30, 11 by 90, minus 184 by 225 on the right hand side. Next operation, cancel leading coefficients in row R1 by performing the following operations. So R1 minus 3 times of R4. What do I have on R1 now? Minus 4 4 2 0, minus 16 upon 75 2 by 5, 14 by 15, minus 32 upon 75 on the RHS side. Next operation, multiply matrix row by constant. So now we are multiplying row 3 with 1 by 4. So the new values in R3 comprises of 0 0 1 0 on the LHS, minus 2 by 45, 1 by 3, 1 by 9, minus 4 by 45 on the RHS. Cancel leading coefficients in row R2 by performing, what am I performing? R2 minus 3 by 2 times of R3, and that value we need to insert in R2. Now the entries that I have in the matrix equals 0 4 0 0, 148 by 225, 4 by 15, minus 2 by 45, minus 154 by 225 on the RHS respectively. Next, cancel leading coefficients in R1 by performing the following operations. R1 minus 2 times of R3, and then the value of R1 equals minus 4 4 0 0. RHS values minus 28 upon 225, minus 4 by 15, 32 upon 45, minus 56 upon 225. Next operation, multiply matrix row by constant R2. We're multiplying it with 1 by 4 times of R2. So the entries on R2 equal 0 1 0 0, Here I have 37 upon 225, 1 by 15, minus 1 by 90, minus 77 upon 450. You can see we're getting close to row reduced echelon form for the matrix. Next operation, R1 minus 4 times of R2. So then what I have here is minus 4, 3 times 0, the first row LHS side, minus 176 upon 225, minus 8 by 15, 34 by 45, 98 by 225 on the RHS side. Multiply matrix row by constant R1, and what do I have here? Minus 1 by 4 times of R1. Let's put those values. Now the value in R1 equals 1, 000, the first row, 44 by 225, 2 by 15, minus 17 by 90, minus 49 by 450 on the RHS side. Now we can see on the LHS I have an identity matrix, and on the RHS side I have the inverse of the original matrix that we started with. I'm guessing you guys are actually solving this. You're figuring out these constants that I'm multiplying, subtracting yourself. And in case if you're actually struggling in understanding how am I, bringing these equations together and then computing the answers, I will be making a separate video which shows all the tips and tricks of bringing matrices in row echelon form and row reduced echelon form. Personally, I think it's a little complex. It's a little complex to figure out yourself. Okay, now this time I have to multiply it with 2 times of first row, then subtract it with third row, or multiply it with a constant, or swap the rows. It doesn't become evident right away. So there are a lot of tips and tricks that we can use, and those are the tips and tricks I have created myself personally. So I will be covering that in a different session. Okay, just in case if you're struggling in figuring out, okay, why have we done this, and is there a simpler trick to bring these bring these operations, put up these operations there, then yes, there are tricks that we will be covering. But for now, these are the operations that we do, and I'm guessing you guys have also gotten until this point and you've got these values. In case if you haven't gotten these values, you can just go back and just check previous slides and compare the values where exactly what you missed out. But in the final, at the end of the computation, this is the final matrix that you should be getting. And this matrix on the RHS right hand side that we have right here is the inverse of the matrix we started with. Okay, so the matrix is 44 upon 225, 2 by 50, minus 17 by 90, minus 49 by 450, 37 upon 225, 1 by 15, minus 1 by 90, minus 77 by 450, minus 2 by 45, 1 by 3, 1 by 9, minus 4 by 45, 16 by 225, minus 2 by 15, 1 by 45, 32 by 225. That's it. So inverse matrix is on the right hand side of the augmented matrix, like I said, and this is our final inverse matrix. So this is pretty much it for this session. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me through the comments section or through my website. And yeah, so just to summarize what we've discussed, to calculate the inverse, the step first is to compute the determinant of your matrix. Now you can compute the determinant in many different ways. The two known ways that we've discussed in the previous sessions, first one is row echelon form, and the second one is to find the cofactors and minors. Finding it through row echelon form is slightly simpler when you have matrices which are more than 3 cross 3 sizes, what we've done here. Then once you have the matrix in row echelon form, you can actually multiply the diagonal entries and then find the determinant. If the determinant equals 0, the matrix does not have an inverse. But if it is not 0, then the matrix has an inverse, and you can go ahead and solve the matrix. To solve the matrix, you first need to again bring the matrix in row echelon form and then augment it with an identity matrix, and then start performing the computations and calculations for the different row operations that we can do. Once the matrix is brought into row echelon form, you need to bring the matrix in row reduced echelon form. And then once on your LHS side you've got the identity matrix, the values that you've gotten on the right hand side is actually the inverse of your original matrix. I've also discussed that at times computing row echelon form and row reduced echelon form is slightly tricky, because right away you don't understand what operations can be performed on the rows. So there are different tricks to do that, and I will be taking a separate session on the tricks, just to the tricks to find out how you can figure out what computation you can do on a specific row, so that finding the row echelon form and row reduced echelon form faster becomes easier. So this is literally pretty much it. Thank you so much.